Hello and welcome to this week's PS4 O'clock, where I'll be talking to Phil Ivanuik about PS Vita TV, the PS4 set-top box that could revolutionise the PlayStation 4. Hello everyone, it is Leon here again with this week's PS4 O'clock, and I'm joined by...
Phil, hello.
Now we're talking about something that's not specifically PS4 this week, but could have quite sort of serious kind of implications for it, which is PS Vita TV, which is a new sort of micro-console thing that Sony announced this week. Essentially, it's going to be like a set-top box for PS4.
Yeah, so it's kind of... There's a games library, there's a games application for it, there's also kind of like a Netflix application for it. It's a £60, very small Apple TV-like device that basically gives you, I think, 1,300 games from PS Vita, PSP, and PS1, along with, I mean, things like Netflix aren't confirmed yet, are they? But they... No,
I mean, it has Japanese streaming, kind of the Japanese almost equivalents of Netflix. I think Hulu was one of the things that was mentioned, but essentially, it has the streaming applications for the country it's in at the moment, which is Japan. I mean, what they've basically done is they've taken a Vita, taken the screens and the buttons off, put it in a tiny little box. It's literally sort of the size of a portable hard drive almost. And then you can plug it into your TV. They've mentioned specifically that it does work with remote play. So if you've got, as we were saying earlier, you've got a PS4 in your living room, but you've got a couple of TVs in the house, you plug the PS Vita TV into your spare TV, and then you can remote play. You can, have
PS4 all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
All over the place.
You could take it with you, throw it in your bag when you go on holiday, take it to some hotel somewhere, plug it all in, and you don't have to cart your console around on holiday, which is always, a really bad thing to do.
I mean, it is tiny as well. It's 110 grams apparently, and 6.5 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, so it's almost pocket size.
Yeah.
If depending on how big your pockets are. A much more appropriate and possible way to just cart around all your kind of home entertainment media, because I guess that that's the whole thing with next gen consoles. It's not just the games, is it? It's just your entire online and media life, and I guess as well you can check in with your friends via PSN, see what they've been doing, what videos they've been uploading, things like that via the TV as well.
I mean, essentially, it gives you access to whatever you've got on your PS4, as if it was any kind of remote play setup. I mean, a few more stats. It's arriving in Japan on November the 14th. At the moment, that's 9,954 yen, which works out about 60 quid. So that's pretty cheap, and that gets you the Vita TV console, an HDMI cable, an AC adapter, and a power cord. There's also a value pack that comes with a controller as well, and 90 days free PS Plus. It outputs 480, 720, and 1080i signals. It has a Vita slot, a memory card slot, USB, HDMI, LAN, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's a very interesting device. At the moment, it might not make much sense because you think, why would I just want a Vita I plug in my TV? But it's looking ahead to being able to use it on PS4. So you could, at the beginning of Gamescom, you saw Shuhei Yoshida, browsing the XMB, looking at his friends streaming games. In theory, if it remote plays PS4, you can access all of that. You can... Yeah. The machine... Sorry.
Yeah, it's a portable way to take that full PS4 experience somewhere else within the house, or plug it into a hotel TV, as you say, or even wirelessly connect it, which baffles me. I assume it's maybe Bluetooth. Yeah. Who knows? Time will make fools of us for that one. There is a slight caveat in that it's a DualShock 3, so there's no touch control, so you won't be able to play Vita games that are designed with touch.
It's what it does. It doesn't play Vita games that use a touch screen, but it does use PS4. It can use a DualShock 4. It was part of the press release. If I can find it. Yes, it also supports wireless controller DualShock 4 through future system software updates, which will allow players to enjoy most of PS4 games on PS Vita TV as if they are playing it on their PS4 system.
So I guess the only thing it then can't do is Vita games that support the dual touchscreen.
Yeah, so anything on Vita at the moment that doesn't involves a touchscreen, won't work on Vita TV yet. I mean, now this thing exists, they might re-engineer things, work around things. A lot of the indie games that are coming, there was that massive sort of list of games that were announced at Gamescom. So Wasteland Kings, whatever. Oh no, it's Van Bleer. I can't remember any of the other games now. But
well, what is there?
All the smaller kind of PC-based kind of indie games that are coming to PS4 and Vita will presumably work on Vita TV, because they'll be built to use normal controls. They won't be sort of built to use the touchscreen.
And this is one of the cheapest ways to play them. I mean, you look at. I mean, if indie games really are the thing that excites you the most about next gen, and you're thinking, why do I need a £400 piece of machinery just to play that? I mean, also there is an amazing games library that really makes the most out of that hardware. But if just on a budget, you can suddenly get access to all those games on your TV for not very much money at all.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, there's a huge list of games been released from Japan. A lot of them are sort of Japanese games with just some very strange names. I won't bother
I'm going to pick out Blast Blue Continuum Shift there. Continuum Shift Extend, that's a good game.
Well, you like that? But some of the games you might recognise are things like Soul Sacrifice, Final Fantasy X and X2 HD Remastered, Motorstorm RC, and Final Ratchet & Clank Q-Force. So even if you only bought it on its own as a micro console, it's a good deal. But I think it's just going to be interesting how it extends PS4, essentially having a set-top remote play box that you can take anywhere with you, set up in a house. Just it expands the ecology, doesn't it, to sort of new,
absolutely
in new ways. Is new, it's more mobile, it's more sort of transportable. It's not a big PS4. You don't have to carry that around.
In terms of its internal storage, so there's 1 gigabyte internally, and then you're relying on Vita cards for memory. So maybe that's maybe not a drawback, but something that concedes to its tiny size,
then,
I guess.
From the PS4 point of view, if you are just going to be using it for kind of remote play, streaming films, that sort of thing, it's all you need. Yeah,
absolutely all you need. I'm going to give it another shout out to Persona 4 the Golden that I've seen from the list there. Oh, it absolutely deserves a mention. They're one of Vita's best games, maybe Vita's best game.
It makes you wonder how much sort of Sony have thought about this, though, because obviously the PS4 is this incredibly sort of well thought out machine. It's sort of it seems to be hugging developers all the time. It's really easy to sort of create games on. It's beautifully sort of socially connected. Now there's another sort of facet to what it can do in this box. That continues to make it more sort of social, more approachable, more. It's like it's trying to make itself as easy as possible to use and take advantage of.
And it's interesting as well that they've called it Vita TV rather than just PlayStation TV. I think there were various design documents dug up over the years of just PlayStation TV, which I guess was an early prototype of this.
Yeah.
And I guess the intention now is that Vita is going to be synonymous with taking your PlayStation 4 experience on the go. So I mean that's the whole Vita remote play thing with the handheld Vita as we know it, and the newly announced Slimline model as well. So by calling this the Vita TV rather than just the PlayStation TV, that's a real signal of intent. That PlayStation 4 is kind of an all-pervasive media experience.
Yeah, we should actually mention the new cheaper Vita as well. They have also announced a PS Vita 2000, which uses an LCD screen instead of an OLED screen. So it's cheaper. The Japanese price, I think, is about £120 or so. So if you factor in kind of, retail, what retailers will sell it at, you could be looking at a sub £100 Vita. Fingers crossed.
That's pretty good.
So it's that's got an hour's extra battery life. That's got a gig of storage built in. They're also dropping the memory cards. In Japan so far, they've brought everything down by 40%, and they've also introduced a 64 gig memory card, which is quite sort of pertinent considering that Killzone Mercenary came with a 1.2 gig patch. So it chews through memory card stuff, but again it's adding to that sort of PlayStation 4 experience. They're talking a lot about kind of remote play and streaming and second screen stuff. If Vita comes down to like £99 or less, you're looking again potentially at bundles, maybe throwing in this new cheaper Vita in with a PS4.
Yeah, these are almost kind of impulse buy pricing at this time now. If you weren't tempted by a Vita until now, then either the reduced the reduced pricing on the actual handheld model, or this for £60. It's definitely impulse buy territory.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge kind of like screen sort of whore when it comes to I'm quite happy with 720p or whatever. An OLED screen and an LCD screen, I'm sure I'd look at them and go, well, I can see a difference. I'm not that bothered.
It's not going to be a game destroying difference.
Yeah, and from changing it from a slightly expensive thing I'm afraid to take around and leave lying around in my bag to something I can just chuck in my back pocket and I'm not too bothered.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. There's a PS Vita TV being announced. Well, has been announced, sorry. It's out in November the 14th in Japan. No word yet on the UK retail release or price. But effectively, it remote plays PS4 games, so you can take your PS4 wherever you go with a micro console that fits in the palm of your hand. It works with PS3 and PS4 DualShocks. It runs 480p, 720p, 1080i. There's Vita card slot, memory card slot, USB, HDMI, LAN, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It'll be really interesting to see what effect that has on the PS4. If you can buy, one of those, plug it in the house, take it with you. We'll let you know as soon as Sony announce it for a European release, I should say, and almost certain that will come quite soon.